Welcome one and all for today's session. So today we are going to see the concept of recursion. So as we are winding up the concepts related to functions, now let us see what exactly this recursive function means. And before going and seeing about the details related to recursion, first we need to know what kind of a problems can be solved using this recursion approach. So as we all know that we do the programs to solve a particular problem, there are various ways to solve the problem. So recursion is one of the technique of solving a problem. And recursion doesn't solve all kind of a problem. They solve a particular problem with a kind of a nature. So today what we are going to see is what kind of a problems we are going to solve using the recursion approach. So first let us see what kind of a problem can be solved. So it is a problem solving technique which involves in breaking a problem into a smaller instance of same problem. So that means if you have a huge problem, first you try to break that problem into smaller instances of the same problem. That means you're going to create a subprogram or subproblem. Until when you're going to break this problem into a subproblem is until you get a trivial solution. That means until you get an ultimate solution, you keep on breaking the problem into subproblem. So in simple words, any problem whose solution to the problem exist within the smaller instance of the same problem. Keep in your mind, why are we actually breaking it into a subproblem is because the solution to the problem exists within the smaller instances of the same problem. So that is what is the nature of the problem which can be taken to solve using recursive approach. That means we use this approach when solution to the problem exist within the smaller instances of the same problem. This is not the definition. This is actually the kind of problem which can be solved using recursion. So what kind of a problem can be solved using recursion? If we have the solution to the problem exist within the smaller instances of the same problem, such kind of a problem can be solved using recursion approach. I hope you get it. Okay, so that is what is the type of the rule. Then let us see an example. Now let us take an example as factorial of 5. We need to find out a factorial of 5. As we can see, there are two phases to what a recursive approach takes to solve this particular factorial of 5. As we all know, factorial of 5 is nothing but 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is nothing but 120. Just imagine a person, since it's a very small number, 5 is a very small number, we can compute what is factorial of 5. But imagine if the same thing, it would have been factorial of 99. The complexity increases because 99 is a huge number compared to 5. So it's very hard to detect or tell what exactly is a factorial of a 99 for a human being is. So what this recursive approach does is reduces the problem into smaller instance. As per the current scenario, we needed to compute factorial of 5, so we need to reduce them. So look at in the next step what it is doing. It is calculating 5 into factorial of 4. That means the problem actually was supposed to carried out to be to find factorial of y, we have reduced that problem in the next step by one step, that is 5 into factorial of 4. And next, we are further reducing it, the factorial 4 into factorial of 3. And that further, it has been reduced to 3 into factorial of 2. And further, it is reduced to 2 into factorial of 1. So we are keep on decreasing. But this decreasing that into a smaller instance need one point where it should stop. So where do we stop? That is what it says, until we get small enough sub problem which has a trivial solution. We keep on dividing this into a smaller instance until we reach a point where we know the answer. So at one point of time, we know the answer of factorial of 1. So factorial of 1 is a very known answer and it's the easiest answer. If we compare factorial of y, it is quite tricky. Factorial of 4, we need to compute. Factorial of 3, we need to compute. Factorial of 2 also we need to compute. But when it comes to a factorial of 1, it's a straightforward answer. As we all know, uh, it is a 1. So once you get the ultimate solution for one smaller instance, that smaller instance will give you the solution. If you get that smaller instance solution, all the other solutions can be computed. So if you get to know what is factorial of 1, which is nothing but 1, you can compute 2 into 1. What is 2 into 1? 2 into 1 is 2, and 2 is the answer of factorial 2. Okay, next, 3 into 2, 6. 6 is an answer of factorial of 3. 6 into 4, 24. 24 is an answer of factorial of 4. And 5 into 24, that is 120, which is an answer of factorial of 5. And if you can see the unwinding phase of recursion, that is what is happening. That is, winding phase comes from top to bottom and unwinding phase going from bottom to top. That means we try to divide the problem into smaller instance until we reach one point where we know the answer easily, and that point is factorial of 1. Once we know, and you can further divide, you can even divide the factorial of 1 into factorial of 0, and we know what is the factorial of 0. Factorial of 0 is nothing but 1. So you can go one further step and again further subdivide it. But as we all know factorial of 1, we are stopping that to a further division. Okay, so now keep in your mind, this is what this kind of problems like factorial, what we did, where was actually factorial of 5's answer? It was within itself. So what we did was the factorial of y was kept on decreasing until it reached factorial of 1. Once we got the answer for factorial of 1, we try to find out the result. The result of factorial of 1 was 1, and we computed the result. Once we got this result, then what we did was we went to the previous smaller instance. We got factorial of 1 as 1, 2 into 1 is 2, and what was the answer for factorial of 2 was 2. Okay, so we tried to unfold it in from bottom to top, and we finally got the answer of factorial of 5. Okay, so this is what is a kind of a problem which can solve using recursion approach. Okay, so let us see now the definition. This is exactly the definition. So we saw what kind of a problem can be solved using recursion approach, and we saw one example of a problem which actually follows recursive approach. So what is recursion is, if you can see this example, factorial 5 is calling factorial of 4, factorial of 4 is calling factorial of 3, factorial of 3 is calling factorial of 2, factorial of 2 is calling factorial of 1. So a function making the problem into smaller problem by calling itself. How the factorial of 5 become factorial of 4? It called itself and started reducing the problem. Why is it calling the itself? To reduce the problem. So the definition also says the same thing. A function which calls itself to solve particular problem is called as a recursive function. A function which calls itself to solve a particular problem is called as recursive approach. Why is it calling itself? Why this factorial 5 is 4, 5 is calling factorial 4, factorial 4 is calling factorial 3? Each time when it calls the same function, it is reducing the problem. Okay, so that is the reason why it calls the itself to make the problem into smaller problem or smaller instances or subproblem. Okay, so that is the reason why it calls itself. So keep one thing in your mind: what are the elements of this recursive function? Every recursive problems come with two cases. One is general case and the other one is base case. Okay, every recursion problem comes with two cases, general case and base case. So if you see this particular problem, this also has the general case and base case. So let us find out what exactly is general case. So look at the definition of general case. The division of problem into smaller instances by repeatedly calling the function is called as general case. So the division of problem into smaller problem is repeatedly calling the functions. By repeatedly calling the functions only, you can make a huge problem into smaller problem. And this scenario is done by the general case. And this particular division, why we are dividing it, it's because it is a very complicated case of the problem. That means if you are set to find out factorial of 99, it's a complicated answer which we human being cannot compute. So what we do to find out factorial of 99 is we go for 99 into factorial of 98. Still we find out that factorial of 99 is a complicated case. So we further divide that factorial of 98 into factorial of 7. And till where you keep on dividing, till you think that the complicated case becomes easier. And the point where complicated case becomes easier is factorial of 1 or factorial of 0. So the process of dividing the problem into smaller instance by calling the same function is called as general case. So whatever you are seeing in this example, factorial 5 becoming factorial 4, factorial 4 becoming factorial 3, factorial 3 becoming factorial 2, and factorial 2 becoming factorial 1, all these are nothing but the example of general case in the recursive approach. Okay, now till what point you will be keep on doing this? Till you reach one point where you know the answer directly. That means where the complicated case becomes easier. So in this particular step, we know the answer of factorial 1 directly, and this case is called as base case. This case is called as base case. So you can see that the easily solved situation is called as base case. The easily solved situation is called as base case. The base case is the simplest case of the problem that we can answer directly. So if it is factorial of 99 getting reduced to factorial of 1, the answer which we know directly is factorial of 1. Okay, so the base case is nothing but a simplest case of the problem that we can answer directly. And keep one thing in your mind: the base cases, that is in this case factorial of 1 is base case. Do you further subdivide it after the base case? We have reached base case where we know the answer, we don't divide it further. So that is what the it says. The base case does not use recursion. After once you reach base case, you need not again call the function and further reduce it. Okay, so the base case does not use recursion. And keep one thing in mind: each recursive algorithm must have at least one base case. Okay, each recursive algorithm must have at least one base case. That means one point of time you should stop doing this subdivision. You can't let this go as you wish. Like I can't let this factorial 1 to get reduced to factorial of 0 and factorial of 0. Yeah, at one point of time I can go up to factorial 0, because we also know what is the answer of factorial of 0, that is 1. But can you go beyond factorial of 0? Can you make it as factorial of -1? No, because there is no factorial for a negative number. So at one point of time, once you reach the base case for which you know the answer, you should stop there. Okay, if you don't have base case, then it will be an infinite recursion. Okay, so that's what he says. At one point of time, if or at least if you have one base case, or else it lead to infinite recursion. Okay, what made you to reach base cases? Your general case led you to reach base case, because we came to a point of base case only after reducing it one by one. So what was reduction stage called as? General case. That means keep on dividing the problem into smaller instances until you reach the base case. So the general case is the one which leads you to the base case. That's what it says. All general cases should be reduced to a base case. If general case does not reduce to a base case, then that means that that problem cannot be solved by recursion because it's going out to infinite recursion. So this is what is two cases present in recursion. So this is the theoretical part about the recursion. So once again, let us recall first the definition. What is the before seeing the definition, you need to think about what kind of a problem can be solved using recursion. Not every problem in the world can be solved using recursion technique. A problem whose solution exists within the smaller instances of the same problem. If you have this nature in your problem, then only those kind of a problem can be solved using recursion. Okay, example is your factorial of 5. When you keep on reducing this factorial of 5 into further smaller level, at one point of time you get an answer, direct answer to one of the subdivision. If you get the answer to that subdivision, in this case it's factorial of 1, you can get the answers of previous subproblems. Okay, and that's what he says. How do you divide this? You divide this problem into a subproblem by calling the same function. Okay, so what is the definition? A function which call itself to solve a particular problem is called as recursive function. Okay, a function which calls itself to solve a particular problem is called as recursive function. Why it is called as a recursive function? Because why we are doing it's yeah, calling it itself, because we need to divide the problem into subproblem or smaller instance. Okay, that is the reason we call themselves. Okay, what does this recursion consist of? Recursion consists of two case, general case and base case. So what is general case? The division of problem into smaller instances by repeatedly calling the same function is the job of general case. So you are making the problem into smaller instance by repeatedly calling that, and this statement which reduces your problem into further smaller level, that is done by your general case. And what is the importance of the general case is because why we are dividing it into smaller instances is because each and every cases are complicated cases, so we keep on reducing them, okay, until when you get the answer directly. That is the job of general case. And what is base case? At one point of time, this general case has to stop. That is, one point of time, after keep on subdividing into a smaller instances, at one point of time you get the easiest case, which for which you know the answer directly, and that case is called as base case. That's what he say. The easily solved situation is called base case. The base case is the simplest case of the problem that we can answer directly. Okay, and once you get that base case whose answer you know directly, you are not going to apply again recursion. That means you are not going to divide it further. That's what he says. The base case does not have a recursion. Okay, the base case not use recursion anymore. So that means each recursion algorithm must have at least have one base case. Otherwise, if you don't have one base case, you will end up in infinite recursion. And the next thing is, who is leading you into the base case? All general cases should be reduced to a base case. That means the general case is the one which keep on reducing and come to a point where you get to know the answer directly. And that is why general case leads to base case. And otherwise, if it doesn't lead to a base case, it goes to an infinite recursion.